Some of the strongest people you'll ever meet are the ones who have endured the most pain. Being born into a toxic family isn't an easy path, but it's one that shapes you in ways most will never understand. Sigma females aren't just survivors. They are warriors. They've navigated emotional storms, endured manipulation, and fought to find their true selves amidst chaos. And through it all, they've emerged stronger, more resilient, and deeply self-aware. Toxic environments try to stifle individuality, but Sigma females refuse to be defined by their past. They rise above the dysfunction, building a foundation of independence and strength that can withstand anything life throws their way. It's not just about survival, it's about transformation. Your journey has made you exceptional. You have an innate ability to see beyond the surface, to recognize patterns and deceit, and to build a life that aligns with your values, not someone else's expectations. And that, my friend, is a superpower. So if you're here, watching this, know that you belong to a unique group, those who were born into difficulty but chose to rise above it. Watch the video, embrace your strength, and step into the power of the Sigma. Your journey is yours to shape, and the world is waiting for your leadership. Number 1. They know that love doesn't equal control. In toxic families, love is often twisted into something suffocating, an expectation to conform, an unspoken demand for submission. Sigma females have experienced this firsthand, witnessing how love can be used as a tool to manipulate, control, and limit their autonomy. But they refuse to accept that distorted version of affection. For them, love isn't about losing themselves or surrendering their boundaries. It's about mutual respect and freedom. They've redefined what love truly means, an understanding that it thrives when both parties have the space to be their authentic selves. Love, in their world, doesn't come with strings attached or demands for loyalty at the expense of personal identity. Sigma females understand that control masquerading as love is nothing more than a prison wrapped in emotional dependence. They've seen through the facade of possessiveness and clinginess, recognizing that true love should empower rather than diminish. They aren't afraid to walk away from relationships or situations where love is used as a guise for domination. Their perspective challenges the societal norms that often equate love with sacrifice and surrender. To a Sigma female, love is not about losing control. It's about mutual understanding, trust, and the freedom to grow individually while nurturing the relationship. They've crafted their own definition of love, a love that respects boundaries, celebrates individuality, and allows both parties to thrive. Anything less is unacceptable, and in doing so, they show the world that love isn't confined by control, it's elevated by it. Number 2. They mastered survival before they even knew the word. Survival wasn't something Sigma females learned from books or motivational speeches. It was wired into their being before they even understood what it meant. Growing up in a toxic family meant navigating unpredictable moods, hidden agendas, and emotional chaos daily. They didn't have the luxury of a comfort zone. Every move they made had to be calculated. This forced them to develop razor-sharp instincts that most people don't achieve in a lifetime. While others might crumble under pressure, Sigma females grew stronger. They adapted, not by leaning on others, but by becoming their own anchor. Toxicity didn't just teach them how to endure, it taught them how to thrive in environments designed to break them. They learned that survival wasn't just about keeping your body safe, it was about protecting your mind and heart from being consumed by the storm around you. This psychological resilience is their secret weapon. It's why they can walk into any situation, no matter how messy, and remain composed. Chaos doesn't intimidate them because they've been there, done that, and come out stronger on the other side. They don't need external validation to guide them. They trust their instincts because those instincts were honed in the harshest conditions. In a world that often glorifies comfort, Sigma females are proof that adversity creates an unshakable foundation. They are the embodiment of independence, not because they wanted to be, but because they had no other choice, and they turned that into their greatest strength. Number 3, they understand people's true colors without being told. Growing up in a toxic household means being surrounded by manipulation, half-truths and power plays disguised as love. For Sigma females, this environment wasn't just difficult, it was their training ground. They didn't just stumble upon the ability to read people. It became a matter of survival. Over time, they learned to spot patterns most people overlook, catching lies before they're even spoken, and seeing the intent behind someone's actions long before it becomes clear to anyone else. It's not just raw intuition. It's a skill honed through years of witnessing behavior that didn't match words. They know what silence can mean, how a slight shift in tone can carry a hidden agenda, and when someone's smile is masking something darker. These experiences taught them not to take anything at face value. They don't just listen to what people say, they analyze why it's being said and what's not being said at all. This ability to see people's true colors without being told isn't paranoia, it's clarity. Toxicity forced them to develop a mental catalog of human behavior, where every lie, betrayal, and manipulative move became another lesson. By the time they're adults, their emotional radar is so finely tuned that it's nearly impossible to fool them. They don't confront every lie or expose every manipulation. Sometimes they simply take note and let people dig their own graves. This skill isn't just about defense, it's about power. Sigma females move through life with an edge, not because they distrust everyone, but because they see through everyone. And in a world where so much depends on appearances, their ability to see the truth is a gift few others possess. Number 4. They were forced to build their identity from scratch. Growing up in a toxic family is like trying to find yourself in a hall of distorted mirrors. The reflections you see aren't real. They're projections of other people's insecurities, expectations, and unresolved issues. A toxic household doesn't encourage individuality. It smothers it, demanding compliance, conformity, and silence. For Sigma females, this suffocating environment didn't define them. It became the push they needed to build their identity from scratch. In such families, expressing who you are is often met with ridicule, control, or outright rejection. Sigma females quickly realize that to survive, they can't rely on external validation. It's either non-existent or manipulative. So they turn inward. They start to question everything. What do they actually believe? What makes them feel alive? What values do they want to live by? These questions become their blueprint for creating an identity that isn't shaped by others, but entirely their own. The process isn't easy. It involves rejecting the labels their family tried to slap on them: too sensitive, too independent, too much. It means finding strength in solitude and trusting their instincts even when everyone around them insists they're wrong. But through this rebellion against suppression, they forge an identity so authentic, so unshakable that no amount of criticism or rejection can shake it. By the time they step into adulthood, Sigma females are fiercely self-defined. They don't need applause, approval, or permission to be who they are. Their identity is a quiet, unmovable force, untouched by trends, opinions, or societal pressures. In a world where so many people are still searching for who they are, Sigma females stand out because they know. They didn't just find themselves, they built themselves piece by unbreakable piece. At number 5, they're the perfect mix of soft and ruthless. Sigma females are a rare combination of softness and ruthlessness, a blend that leaves people both intrigued and unsure of how to approach them. Growing up in toxic environments, they've witnessed the ugliest sides of human behavior: manipulation, betrayal, and cruelty. But that exposure didn't harden them into stone. Instead, it taught them the importance of choosing where and when to be soft. Their kindness isn't blind or naive, it's deliberate. They extend it to those who deserve it, understanding that empathy is a powerful tool, not a weakness. But when the situation calls for it, their ruthlessness emerges, cutting through nonsense, lies, and manipulation with surgical precision. This isn't an act of malice. It's a survival skill honed through years of navigating toxicity. What makes them enigmatic is their unpredictability. People can't pigeonhole them because they're capable of showing profound compassion one moment and drawing unbreakable boundaries the next. They read situations with unnerving accuracy, knowing when to lend a helping hand and when to walk away without a second thought. This balance is their superpower. Their softness allows them to connect with people on a deeply human level, while their ruthlessness ensures they're never taken advantage of. It's this duality that keeps others on their toes, never quite sure which side they'll encounter. Sigma females aren't just survivors. They're masters of adaptation, wielding empathy and strength in equal measure to navigate a world that's often anything but fair. Number 6. They learn to break generational chains. In toxic families, dysfunction often feels like an inherited burden, passed down through generations, repeating cycles of pain, manipulation, and control. For Sigma females, however, this is where their journey begins. They refuse to carry the weight of those chains any longer. They are the ones who break free, choosing to rewrite the narrative for themselves and future generations. Breaking generational chains is no easy task. It requires confronting the deeply rooted patterns of toxicity, often resulting in emotional turmoil and a sense of isolation. But Sigma females understand that this pain is necessary for true liberation. They recognize that healing and independence come at the cost of facing uncomfortable truths about their family's legacy and themselves. They refuse to accept dysfunction as a default. Instead, they strive to build a legacy of emotional strength and self-reliance, a legacy where their children and those who come after them aren't burdened by the same cycles of control and disconnection. It's a difficult but empowering process of unlearning the toxic behaviors they witnessed growing up. For many, breaking these chains can feel like starting from scratch. Sigma females rebuild their sense of self, creating healthy boundaries and fostering a relationship with themselves that wasn't nurtured in their past. They don't pass on unhealthy patterns because they've learned firsthand that independence and authenticity are the keys to breaking free. Through their courage and resilience, Sigma females transform their family history into a powerful source of strength. They become the anomaly, the one who chooses to dismantle dysfunction and build something new, a future where emotional health and freedom are the foundations, not just for themselves, but for generations to come. Number 7. They develop a spine of steel disguised as grace. Living in a toxic environment often pushes people to the edge of their emotional limits. For Sigma females, this isn't just a trial. It's a crucible where resilience and adaptability are forged into something powerful. They don't rely on loud confrontations or overt displays of strength. Instead, they cultivate a quiet, unshakable resolve, a spine of steel disguised as grace. Enduring hardship isn't easy, especially when toxicity strips away security and trust. Yet, Sigma females find a way to weather storms without sacrificing their humanity. They learn to adapt, to navigate the chaos with precision, and to maintain their inner calm in the face of emotional turmoil. Their strength is understated, but unmistakable. What sets them apart is their ability to stand firm without arrogance or defensiveness. They don't need to prove their power through dominance or manipulation. Their presence speaks for itself, a testament to their resilience and self-assuredness. This quiet strength has the power to influence and inspire, often leaving a lasting impact on those who encounter them. Sigma females understand that true power lies not in control, but in authenticity and emotional intelligence. They use their cultivated grace to lead, not by forcing, but by guiding. Their steel spine allows them to endure not only the trials of their past, but also the challenges of life ahead, all while preserving their dignity and compassion. In a world that often values loudness and chaos, Sigma females stand as examples of strength that doesn't need a spotlight. Their calm yet indomitable spirit speaks volumes, a testament to the beauty of resilience paired with grace. At number 8, they're immune to emotional blackmail. In toxic families, emotions aren't just felt, they're wielded like weapons. Every guilt trip, every manipulated sob story, every calculated outburst becomes a tool to control and dominate. For most people, these tactics create confusion and self-doubt. But Sigma females grow up seeing through the game. They learn early that emotions can be twisted, that guilt isn't always justified, and that love doesn't come with strings attached. This awareness doesn't make them cold, it makes them wise, As children, they faced accusations like, "After all I've done for you," or "If you really loved me, you would." These words weren't expressions of love or care. They were traps designed to force compliance. Sigma females learn to untangle the emotional knots others tried to tie them in, understanding the difference between genuine concern and manipulation dressed as affection. By the time they become adults, emotional blackmail loses all its power over them. Guilt doesn't sway them, and emotional manipulation doesn't pull them off course. They've already faced the masters of this game, and they're not about to be controlled by anyone else's tears, tantrums, or guilt-laden pleas. This doesn't mean they lack empathy. On the contrary, they feel deeply, but they've learned to separate their feelings from someone else's attempts to control them. They act from a place of clarity, not coercion. When someone tries to guilt them into submission, they don't argue or defend themselves. They simply refuse to play along. This emotional immunity isn't just a defense mechanism, it's a declaration of independence. Sigma females are proof that when you see manipulation for what it is, it loses its power entirely. Number 9, they're obsessed with freedom. For Sigma females, freedom isn't a luxury, it's a non-negotiable. Growing up in a toxic family, they were starved of it. Their choices were dictated, their thoughts were questioned, and their individuality was often suppressed under the weight of control and expectation. This deprivation planted a deep hunger for autonomy that never goes away. But this isn't just about rebelling against authority or avoiding control. It's about protecting the essence of who they are. To a Sigma female, freedom means much more than the ability to make decisions. It's the space to think, feel, and exist without interference. It's the refusal to let anyone or anything dictate the trajectory of their life or confine their soul to someone else's idea of what's right. Their obsession with freedom drives everything they do. They carve out paths that are uniquely theirs, whether that means walking away from a job that doesn't align with their values, ending a relationship that feels suffocating, or rejecting societal norms that clash with their inner truth. This relentless pursuit of independence isn't about stubbornness, it's about survival. Freedom to them is the ultimate act of self-respect. It's their way of saying, "I will not be defined by the cage I was placed in." And once they taste it, they guard it fiercely. No amount of manipulation, coercion, or external pressure can make them trade it away. Their soul remains untamed, unbroken, and utterly free, no matter the circumstances. At number 10, they turn the gift of pain into the power of purpose. In toxic families, pain often feels like a heavy burden, one that weighs down the soul and clouds clarity. Yet for Sigma females, that very pain becomes their greatest gift, an unexpected source of purpose. They endure the emotional turmoil, the manipulation, and the chaos. And in doing so, are pushed to question life's deepest truths. This relentless exploration of pain forces them to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves and the world around them. Unlike others who may seek comfort in denial or distraction, Sigma females turn their suffering into insight. They dissect the wounds, seeking understanding rather than escape, and in doing so, uncover a deeper sense of meaning. For them, pain is not just an end, it's a starting point. It becomes a compass, guiding them toward growth and a life aligned with purpose. Others may shy away from difficult experiences, but Sigma females embrace them, knowing that through hardship, they forge a foundation of resilience and wisdom. Their journey is not for the faint-hearted. It requires them to face the darkest corners of their own psyche and the complexities of relationships with those who have hurt them the most. But instead of falling into bitterness or self-pity, they channel this pain into a force that propels them forward. Purpose, for Sigma females, emerges not from comfort or ease, but from the fire of their experiences. They turn pain into power, transforming it into clarity, self-awareness, and the drive to live a life that reflects their values, one filled with authenticity, freedom, and meaning. Number 11. They learn how to lead without trying to control. Growing up in a toxic family means enduring control disguised as care. Every choice is scrutinized, every mistake amplified, and every act of independence met with resistance. Sigma females know better than most how suffocating control can be, and they want no part of it. Instead of replicating the environment they were raised in, they flip the script entirely. They lead not by dominating, but by empowering others to be their best selves. Having lived through manipulation and micromanagement, they understand the profound difference between guiding someone and controlling them. Sigma females instinctively avoid imposing their will on others. They know that true leadership isn't about demanding obedience, but about inspiring trust and respect. They give people the freedom to make their own decisions, even if those decisions lead to failure, because they value growth over perfection. Their leadership style is subtle but powerful. They create an environment where people feel seen, heard, and respected, not because they need to feel powerful, but because they understand how transformational that kind of environment can be. This ability to foster autonomy comes from a deeply ingrained belief. Control stifles, but freedom empowers. Sigma females lead by example, showing that strength doesn't have to be loud and authority doesn't require fear. They've experienced firsthand how damaging toxic control can be, and they're determined to do the opposite. Their leadership isn't just effective, it's transformative, creating a ripple effect of self-respect and independence wherever they go. People may hear your words, but they feel your attitude. This quote by John C. Maxwell captures what makes Sigma females truly remarkable. They don't just listen, they sense. They've mastered the art of reading the unsaid, the energy, intentions, and truths most people overlook. This ability isn't just about seeing through others. It's about living with a clarity and depth that sets them apart. If you identify as a Sigma female, understand this. You are one of the rarest and most intuitive individuals walking this earth. Your gift is seeing beyond appearances, beyond facades, to the core of people's true selves. While the world often values noise and showmanship, you thrive in the quiet power of understanding and authenticity. And let's be honest, this isn't always easy. It can feel isolating, even overwhelming, to notice things others miss or to know when someone's intentions aren't pure. But this gift also makes you a force to be reckoned with. Remember, your insight isn't just a skill, it's a responsibility. The way you see the world can inspire others to be more authentic, more intentional, and more honest. So embrace your uniqueness. You're not just a spectator, you're a guide, a disruptor, and a mirror that reflects truths people can't hide from.